Welcome back to DPSN. I'm Dylan Oliver. Welcome to my 2021 NFL record predictions. I figured I'd start off with the division that has the Super Bowl champions in it. So today, I'll be predicting the record for all 4 NFC South teams for this upcoming NFL season. To start it off, we got the Carolina Panthers. I really like what they did in the offseason with getting Sam Darnold via trade, signing Hassan Reddick to pair with Brian Burns, and drafting J.C. Horn with the 8th pick in the draft this year. The Panthers' first game is at home versus the New York Jets. Sam Darnold versus his old team in his first game in Carolina. This should be a really good one. I have the Carolina Panthers winning this game. Then, week 2, they are going home again to play a division rival in the New Orleans Saints. With the retirement of Drew Brees, I think the Saints will take a few games to get adjusted, and the Panthers will walk away with a hard-fought win in this game. Their first road game of the season comes week 3 versus the Houston Texans. This is a very winnable game for the Panthers, and I believe they'll take it against a bad Texans team. This will improve their record to 3-0. Up next, the Panthers travel to Dallas to play Dak Prescott and his Cowboys. I have the Panthers picking up their first loss of the season here, but bouncing back the next week at home against the Eagles. Week 6, the Panthers have their toughest test yet in my eyes against the Minnesota Vikings team that I believe will be much better this season, and I have the Vikings beating the Panthers. The following week, the Panthers go to New York to play against the Giants. I think the Panthers will win this game, bringing their record to a very good 5-2 through the first 7 weeks of the NFL season. Their next 3 games are all games that I'd consider winnable for this Panthers team. But I think that some holes on this team are going to start showing themselves, and they will lose all 3 games versus the Falcons, Patriots, and Cardinals. Dropping them to 5-5, the Panthers are going to be desperate for a win week 11 versus the Washington football team, and they will get it done. But they'll fail to build off of that in their next game, as they will lose to the Miami Dolphins. Going into their bye week, they will sit at 6-6 with a tough final 5 games. They keep playoff hopes alive with a win over the Falcons, but after that, they play 4 games against teams I consider to be playoff contenders. 3 of those games against teams I consider to be Super Bowl contenders. Because of this very difficult final 4-game stretch of their season, they won't be able to win another game. They play the Saints, the Bills, the Bucs, and the Bucs again, and they will finish their season 7-10 and miss the playoffs. Now let's talk about the division winners of last season, the New Orleans Saints. After an eventful offseason with the retirement of their greatest franchise player, I think the Saints are going to take a few weeks to figure out how to win and beat the easy teams they're supposed to beat without the play and leadership of Drew Brees. Week 1, they have a rough start against the Green Bay Packers. I have the Packers coming down to New Orleans and winning for the 2nd straight season. Then, once again, I have the Panthers defeating the Saints in week 2. And I have the Saints starting the season off 0-3 after a loss to New England as well. I think by this point, the Saints will start to figure some things out and learn how to win a couple games without Brees. They will return home and beat the Giants, then travel to Washington to beat the football team. A road trip to Seattle, however, will prevent the Saints from getting their record back up to 500, as they will lose this game and fall to 2-4. The next week, the Saints will get one of, if not, the biggest wins of their season over the reigning Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then follow that up with a good win over a divisional rival in the Falcons. Finally, the Saints will get back up to 500, but it doesn't matter too much or stay that way for too long, because Derrick Henry's Titans give the Saints a loss the next week, dropping them back under 500. After a crucial win versus the Eagles, though, they lose to the Buffalo Bills. The Saints will then be able to string together back-to-back wins over the Cowboys and the Jets before a rematch with Tom Brady and Tampa Bay, in which the Saints they'll be defeated. Now, with the Saints at 7-7, they have to win their final 3 games to have just a little bit of a chance to make the playoffs. And I think that the Saints team still has enough talent to make a late season push and have a shot for the playoffs. So the Saints will win these last 3 games versus the Dolphins, Panthers, and Falcons and finish their season 10-7. Speaking of the Atlanta Falcons, let's predict their season next. The Falcons start at home versus the Philadelphia Eagles in a game that I have them winning. But then they get the Buccaneers, and even with the addition of Kyle Pitts, that explosive offense will not be enough for the Super Bowl champs. They have a nice 3-game stretch of very winnable games, and I think they'll win all 3 of them and ride a 3-game winning streak into their bye week at week 6. Coming out of that bye week, they get to play the Miami Dolphins. And this is where I see that winning streak end for the Falcons. But they have a nice chance to bounce back the next week versus the Panthers, before of course falling to the Saints the following week. The week after that though, the Falcons will go to Jerry World and play in an extremely high-scoring game that they will end up losing, but following it up, it'll be a hard-fought home win over the New England Patriots before going to Jacksonville and beating up on the Jags, bringing their record to a nice 7-4. The Falcons' schedule gets very tough from here on though, as they have to play the Bucs again in a game I have them losing, and then a divisional road game versus the Panthers that I once again have them losing, and then a trip to San Francisco to play a team that I think will be great again this year, and I have the Falcons losing to the 49ers as well now, dropping them to 7-7 with just 3 games left. After a win against the Lions, they still have a shot at the postseason, but with a game against the Bills and a game against the Saints as their last 2 games, I don't see it happening for the Falcons. The Falcons will lose these last 2 games and miss the playoffs, finishing the season 8-9. And now, I've mentioned this last team a few times this video. It's finally time to predict the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2021 record. First game of the NFL season will be treated on a Thursday night with the Bucs versus the Cowboys in a game the Bucs should win and will win. They'll follow that up with a victory over the Falcons before picking up an early loss to the LA Rams in LA. I'm extremely excited about the Rams this season and think that the addition of Matthew Stafford will make the Rams one of, if not the best teams in the NFC this year. Anyway, back to the Bucs. Week 4, Tom Brady versus his old New England Patriots. I like what the Patriots did this offseason, but it's still not good enough to compete with the Bucs. Bucs win this and Brady dominates the Dolphins the next week like he's done so many times in his career. The following week, the Bucs will beat the Eagles and Brady will not forget what down it is versus the Bears, beating them this time and pushing their record to a 6-1. Bucs will be riding high into New Orleans, but a divisional road game is never easy. The Saints will come to play, giving the Bucs just their 2nd loss of the season. After a wake-up call for the Bucs and the bye week, they are not messing around versus the Washington football team, as the Bucs get an easy win over them and an easy win over the Giants as well. I do believe the Bucs will beat the Colts the next week, but the game against the Colts is not a give-me. I think it'll be a high contested game, and I once again won't just be a free win for the Bucs. The following week, the Bucs will once again beat the Falcons before facing a very good Buffalo Bills team that I think can and will beat the Bucs. With just 4 games left on the season, the Bucs have a very impressive record of 10-3. The last 4 games against the Saints, Panthers, Jets, and Panthers again are all games I expect the Bucs to win, finishing the season 14-3, showing they're coming for another Lombardi trophy. Well, that's it for this video. Tune in next time when I'll be predicting the NFC North records for this upcoming season. I'm Dylan Oliver, and I will see you next time.